what I want to do is I want to kind of talk about kind of the recap of what I think the most important parts to take away from this. For us to be organizations that remain relevant, that we find ourselves in a position of competitive advantage, meaning that we're in a place that we're thriving, we're not just getting by, and we're not falling further behind. It requires us to physically and mentally to shift our perspective. We have to look at our business and what we do in those businesses in a different way. And number one, I think that one thing we have to look at is we have to start to look at the external drivers in a more real-time fashion. We have to look at it more realistically, and we got to find the opportunity that exists within those drivers for us to change and compete. I think the third thing I would just say is once we understand what the drivers are and how they're impacting our business, our main goal is to make sure that we start moving in the right direction, but we stay aligned. We need to keep track with the pace of industry. Now, we'll never be perfectly aligned, but if we could find a place where we shorten that gap gets smaller and smaller and smaller, the more we're on that leading edge of the industry, we're the leaders, a little bit of a gap, a little bit more of a gap makes us a fast follower. If that gap gets too big, we're being left behind as an organization, and everyone suffers from it. So in our case, in the healthcare industry, our patients suffer from it, our employees suffer from it, our practices and our community healthcare centers suffer from it. And then the primary mission of what we're trying to do and accomplish is completely lost. So staying aligned is a really big part of this. Then the last area that I would say is that we're making investments every day into our business. How we make those investments are really, really critical. We just can't, kind of just let things run the way they normally run. We got to be intentional about how much run do we want? How can we lower the cost of that run in ways that are smart so I can actually then shift my energies to grow and transform. So if I make those intentional decisions, I can invest more time into growth and transformation, the more effective my organization is going to be, the more agile my organization will be, and the more I'll be able to respond and react to the changes that are happening around us.